My family mocked my degree for years until they found out Hello, everyone. Before we get into today's story, I just want to ask for a quick favor. If you enjoy long, real-life Reddit stories with drama, family tension, and satisfying karma, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, it helps the channel grow, and it allows us to keep bringing you stories like this one. Thank you so much. Now let's begin. For most of my adult life, my family treated me like the family joke. Not because I was lazy, irresponsible, or living off them, but because of my degree. A single decision I made at 18 became the punchline at every gathering, the reason my achievements were dismissed, and the excuse they used to look down on me for years. I wish I were exaggerating. I'm not. I grew up in a very achievement-oriented family. Degrees weren't just education, they were status symbols. Engineers, accountants, lawyers. Those were the real careers. Anything creative, abstract, or unconventional was considered a waste of time. So when I chose to major in psychology with a focus on user behavior and cognitive science, my family reacted like I'd announced I was joining a circus. My dad laughed. Actually laughed. "So, what are you going to do with that?" he asked. "Read people's minds?" My mom tried to soften it, but not by much. "As long as you're not expecting us to support you forever." My older brother, Kevin, who was studying mechanical engineering, called it my feelings degree. My aunt referred to it as one of those degrees people get when they don't know what they want. At first, I brushed it off. I believed in my path. I had a plan. But every holiday, every family dinner, every casual conversation came with a jab. "How's unemployment treating you? Found a job yet, or are you still studying vibes? You know, Kevin already has offers lined up." It didn't stop after graduation. When I landed my first job, a junior UX researcher role at a small tech startup, they weren't impressed. "That's not a real job," my uncle said. "So, you're basically a tester?" Kevin added. I was making enough to live comfortably, but I didn't brag. I didn't feel the need to defend myself. I thought if I just kept working, eventually they'd see I was doing fine. That was mistake number one. Over the next few years, I quietly built my career. I moved companies, took on bigger projects, learned skills outside my degree, data analysis, product strategy, behavioral modeling. I worked long hours. I stressed. I sacrificed. Meanwhile, the mocking never stopped. At one Thanksgiving, my cousin asked me, dead serious, if I'd considered going back to school for something useful. At Christmas, my dad asked if I'd thought about pivoting before it was too late. No one asked about my work. No one cared about my promotions. As far as they were concerned, I was still the kid who picked the wrong degree. So I stopped sharing details. I didn't talk about my raises. I didn't mention bonuses. I didn't explain what I actually did. I learned very quickly that information only gave them more ammunition. By the time I turned 30, I was a senior UX strategist at a mid-sized tech company. I led teams. I consulted on multi-million-dollar projects. I made more money than I ever imagined growing up. My family had no idea. Then came my cousin's wedding. It was a big deal. Destination wedding. Fancy venue. Entire family present. During the reception, after a few drinks, careers became the topic of conversation at our table. Kevin was there, proudly talking about his engineering job, complaining about stress, long hours. "But hey," he said, "at least it's a real career." Everyone laughed. Then my aunt turned to me. "So," she said, smiling in that condescending way I knew too well, "are you still doing that psychology thing?" I nodded. "Yeah." She chuckled. "Good for you. Someone's got to follow their passions, I guess." Something inside me snapped. Not explosively, quietly. For the first time in years, I didn't let it slide. "I actually work in tech," I said calmly. "User behavior and product strategy." Kevin smirked. "So, meetings and opinions?" I smiled back. "Sure." My dad leaned in. "You happy with it at least?" "I am," I said. "It's been good to me." That should have been the end of it. But Kevin couldn't help himself. Well, not everyone can be an engineer, he said loudly. Someone's got to take the easier path. That's when my cousin, the groom, chimed in. Wait, he said. Didn't you say you worked on that app we use at work? I nodded again. The one that got acquired last year? Yeah, he paused. Didn't that company pay out massive bonuses? The table went quiet. Kevin frowned. What bonus? I hadn't planned on saying anything. I really hadn't. But the damage was already done. It did, I said evenly. For some of us. My aunt blinked. What do you mean? I took a sip of my drink before answering. I mean, I was part of the leadership team. We got equity. My dad stared at me. Equity? Yes. Kevin laughed nervously. Okay, but how much could that really be? I looked him dead in the eye. More than you, I said. And more than Mom and Dad combined. Silence. Actual, uncomfortable silence. My mom spoke first. That's not funny. I'm not joking. My dad leaned back in his chair, studying me like he was seeing a stranger. Kevin's face flushed. That's impossible, I shrugged. You never asked. They didn't believe me at first. Why would they? In their minds, I was still the family disappointment. But over the next hour, questions started coming. Quiet ones, careful ones. What exactly do you do? How long has this been going on? You make… How much? I answered honestly, calmly. No bragging, just facts. By the end of the night, the tone had completely shifted. My aunt was suddenly proud. My dad kept saying how impressive it was. Kevin barely spoke. The next week, my mom called me. She apologized. Sort of. We didn't realize you were doing so well, she said. I replied, that's because you never cared to find out. That hit harder than I expected. She went quiet. Since then, things have changed. Not magically, not perfectly. But the mocking stopped. They ask about my work now. They listen. Kevin doesn't make jokes anymore. He actually asked me for career advice last year. The funny part? The degree never changed. The work never changed. Only their perception did, once they realized my success fit their definition of valid. And that taught me something important. Some people don't respect effort. They don't respect passion. They only respect results they can brag about. I didn't need their validation to succeed, but watching them choke on it when the truth came out, that was just a bonus. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more long, real-life Reddit stories like this one.